I've made a decision, Chike the twins' stepfather began, his voice cold and authoritative. You two are to be married? The twins stared at him in shock. Marriage? They were still so young, and the idea of marrying anyone was the furthest thing from their minds. But, Chike, Amara began, her voice trembling, we are only 16. We are not ready to be married. Chike's eyes narrowed. You don't have a choice in this matter. You will marry Emeka. He's a wealthy man and can provide for both of you. It's the best option for you. Adanna's eyes filled with tears. We don't want to marry him, she said, her voice barely above a whisper. Please, Chike, don't make us do this. Chike's face twisted with anger. You will do as I say. Once upon a time, Amara and Adanna were twin sisters who shared everything, the same room, the same clothes, and even the same dreams. They lived in a small, cozy house at the edge of their village, surrounded by tall, whispering trees and vibrant, fragrant flowers. Their mother, Neka, was the heart of their world. She was gentle and kind, always smiling and humming sweet melodies as she worked. Neka had long, dark hair that she braided with bright beads, and her eyes sparkled like the stars in the night sky. She told the girls stories every evening, tales of brave warriors, magical creatures, and lands far away. The twins would listen, eyes wide with wonder, and drift off to sleep with dreams filled with adventure. But one chilly morning, everything changed. Amara woke up first. She noticed that the house was unusually quiet. Usually, by this time, she could hear the clattering of pots and pans and the smell of breakfast cooking. But today, there was nothing. She nudged Adanna awake, and the two girls tiptoed to their mother's room. They found Neka lying still on her bed, her face pale and her eyes closed. No matter how much they shook her, she didn't wake up. Panic gripped them as they called for help. Neighbors rushed in, their faces grim and worried. The village healer arrived, and after a few moments, he turned to the twins, his expression sorrowful. Your mother has passed away, he said gently. The words felt like a knife through their hearts. The twins clung to each other, tears streaming down their faces. Days turned into weeks, and the house that was once filled with laughter became silent and cold. The twins struggled to understand how their mother, who had been so full of life, could be gone so suddenly. They found themselves alone, their days filled with sorrow and confusion. Then, one afternoon, Chike arrived. Chike was a tall, imposing man with a stern face and cold, piercing eyes. He wore dark clothes and carried an air of authority that made the twins uneasy. He claimed to be their stepfather, a man their mother had married in secret. Neka had never mentioned him, and the twins couldn't believe that their kind, loving mother could have anything to do with such a man. From the moment Chike stepped into their home, the atmosphere changed. He took control of everything, barking orders and expecting instant obedience. He was cruel and demanding, often scolding the girls for the slightest mistakes. Amara and Adanna missed their mother more than ever, longing for her comforting presence and gentle touch. One night, as the twins huddled together in their room, they heard strange noises coming from the kitchen. They crept out of bed and peeked through a crack in the door. Chike was there, talking in hushed tones to a shadowy figure they couldn't quite make out. His voice was harsh and filled with a menace that sent shivers down their spines. "What are they planning?" Adanna whispered, her voice trembling. "I don't know," Amara replied, her eyes wide with fear. "But we have to find out." From that moment on, the twins made a pact to uncover the truth about Chike and what had really happened to their mother. They knew they had to be careful, for Chike was always watching, always listening. Their hearts were filled with a new determination, and they promised each other that they would get to the bottom of this mystery, no matter the cost. As the days turned into weeks, the twins gathered every bit of information they could, piecing together the fragments of a dark and twisted puzzle. They discovered that Chike had a hidden past, one filled with secrets and lies. But the more they uncovered, the more dangerous their situation became. One evening, as they were searching through an old chest in the attic, they found a letter hidden beneath a false bottom. It was written in their mother's handwriting, and it hinted at something terrible, something that Neka had been afraid of. The letter was cut off abruptly, leaving the twins with more questions than answers. "What does this mean?" Adanna asked, her voice shaking. "I don't know," Amara replied, her mind racing. "But whatever it is, it's the key to everything." As they sat there, huddled together in the dim light of the attic, they knew that they were on the brink of uncovering a truth that could change their lives forever. The shadows around them seemed to grow darker, and the house creaked ominously as if it too held secrets waiting to be revealed. Their journey had only just begun, and the danger was far from over. The twins were determined to find out the truth, but they had no idea what sinister forces were at play, or how much their lives would be changed in the process. The night grew darker, and the air was thick with suspense. The twins knew that they had to be brave, for their mother's memory, and for each other. The path ahead was fraught with peril, but they were ready to face whatever came their way. As they climbed down from the attic, clutching the letter tightly, they heard footsteps approaching. Their hearts pounded in their chests as they hurried back to their room, slipping the letter under their mattress just as the door creaked open. Chike stood there, his eyes glinting with suspicion. "What are you two up to?" he demanded, his voice like ice. "Nothing," Amara said quickly, trying to keep her voice steady. "We were just talking." Chike stared at them for a long moment before turning and walking away. The twins breathed a sigh of relief, but they knew that their quest for the truth was far from over. They had to be more careful than ever, for the danger was closing in on them from all sides. And so, the mystery deepened, and the twins' resolve grew stronger. They would uncover the secrets that lay hidden in the shadows, no matter what it took. The tragic loss of their mother had set them on a path filled with danger and intrigue, and they were determined to see it through to the end. The night was long, and the journey ahead was uncertain. But Amara and Adanna knew one thing for sure: they were not alone. They had each other, and together, they would face whatever came their way. What secrets lay hidden in the dark? And what would the twins discover as they delved deeper into the mystery of their mother's death and the sinister presence of Chike in their lives? Only time would tell. Support us by sharing, subscribing, and dropping a comment. Your engagement drives our channel's success. The days following their discovery in the attic were filled with a tense silence. Chike's presence was like a dark cloud over the house, and his cruelty seemed to grow with each passing day. He would bark orders at the twins, demanding that they clean every corner of the house until their hands were raw and their backs ached. If they didn't move quickly enough, he would lash out, his voice booming and his eyes cold and unfeeling. Amara and Adanna tried their best to stay out of his way, but it seemed nothing they did was ever good enough. He would find reasons to punish them, even for the smallest mistakes. Once, Adanna accidentally knocked over a vase while dusting. Chike's reaction was swift and harsh. He grabbed her by the arm and shook her violently, yelling about how useless and clumsy she was. Amara could only watch in horror, her heart aching for her sister. The twins missed their mother terribly. They longed for her comforting embrace and soothing words. The house that had once been filled with love and laughter now felt like a prison. Each night, they would huddle together, whispering about their mother and the letter they had found, trying to piece together the mystery of her death and Chike's sinister plans. One evening, after a particularly grueling day of chores, Chike gathered the twins in the living room. His expression was even more menacing than usual, and the twins' hearts sunk. They knew that whatever he was about to say would not be good. "I've made a decision," Chike began, his voice cold and authoritative. "You two are to be married?" The twins stared at him in shock. Marriage? They were still so young, and the idea of marrying anyone was the furthest thing from their minds. "But Chike," Amara began, her voice trembling, "we are only 16. We are not ready to be married." Chike's eyes narrowed. "You don't have a choice in this matter. You will marry Emeka. He's a wealthy man and can provide for both of you. It's the best option for you." Adanna's eyes filled with tears. "We don't want to marry him," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "Please, Chike, don't make us do this." Chike's face twisted with anger. "You will do as I say," he shouted. "You have no idea how good this arrangement is for you. Emeka is powerful and influential. You live a life of luxury, something your mother could never provide." The twins exchanged a desperate look. They didn't want to be married, especially not to a man they had never met. But they knew that arguing with Chike was futile. His mind was made up, and he wouldn't hesitate to make their lives even more miserable if they refused. The next day, Chike introduced them to Emeka. He was a tall man with a stern face and a commanding presence. His eyes were sharp and calculating, and the twins felt a chill run down their spines as he looked them over, as if they were commodities to be assessed. Emeka smiled, but it was a cold smile that didn't reach his eyes. "It's a pleasure to meet you both," he said, his voice smooth but lacking warmth. "I look forward to our future together." Amara and Adanna forced themselves to smile back, though their hearts were heavy with dread. They couldn't believe that this was happening, that they were being forced into a marriage with a man they didn't know and didn't trust. As the days passed, Chike's pressure on them increased. He reminded them constantly of the benefits of marrying Emeka, painting a picture of a life filled with wealth and comfort. But the twins knew that material possessions couldn't replace the love and freedom they had lost. In the quiet moments they shared, Amara and Adanna clung to each other, their bond growing stronger in the face of their shared ordeal. They whispered about their fears and dreams, trying to find a way out of the nightmare their lives had become. But Chike's grip on them was tight, and their options were limited. One night, As they lay in bed, Amara turned to Adanna, her voice barely a whisper. "We can't give up," she said, her eyes determined. "We have to find a way to escape this. We have to find out the truth about Mother and Chike. It's the only way we can be free." Adanna nodded, her eyes filled with tears but also a flicker of hope. "We will," she promised. "We'll find a way. Together." The road ahead was uncertain and fraught with danger, but the twins knew they had to be brave. Their mother's memory and their love for each other gave them strength. They would face whatever came their way, and they would uncover the secrets that Chike was hiding. The house remained filled with tension and fear, but beneath it, a spark of hope burned in the twins' hearts. They knew that their journey was just beginning, and that the truth, no matter how painful, was the key to their freedom. The night was long, and the shadows seemed to whisper secrets. The twins lay awake, their minds racing with plans and possibilities. They didn't know what the future held, but they were determined to face it together. And so, the suspense grew, the mystery deepened, and the twins prepared themselves for the challenges that lay ahead. I hope you enjoyed the story. Like, subscribe and leave a comment. It helps us grow our channel. I'll see you in our next story. Bye.